So I was painting earlier, and I'm noticing how sometimes in order to get into a good painting, I have to progressively let myself go. It's a weird experience because in some ways our mind has to become attached to a certain way of being when we're out and about in our normal life. When I go to work, when I do private practice work, there's a certain identity that I fulfill. And I fulfill other identities. I'm a dad, I'm a husband, I'm a friend. And we all fulfill these identities and these roles. We all play these roles that are part of our life story. And we're all telling ourselves a story about who we are and what we are and where we are, how we are. And I'm noticing how painting allows me in some ways to let go of that story, to let go of that noise in my head, to quiet my mind in a way that I've only been able to do through meditation, mostly. And just to be. This theme that's emerging over and over and over again in my life the past 6 months is to be. And I'm not drawing that from anything. If I'm being very honest, it's a phrase that came to me when I was having a psychedelic experience with another artist friend of mine. And it was profound for her, profound for me, that her life story was about her not receiving permission to be from her parents. And she was realizing that she also had this dynamic with her daughter, where in some ways she needed to allow her daughter to be or to become. And through her experience, we're surrounded by her paintings, and just over and over and over again, the theme that kept emerging was to be, to become. And that's a theme that's been emerging so much in my life, and it's something I'd say the past couple of years has just been this consistent experience of first being put in a position of submission, and I've described that in the first couple episodes, just going through this experience with my wife where she decided, well, I shouldn't say she decided, I think she just was in a place of not knowing what to do in our marriage, not knowing what she wanted, and having the past couple of years of experiencing a lot of ambivalence and a lot of pain and a lot of ultimately not being able to live the life that I was living, not being able to live within the story that I had been telling myself. And I did all the things I think a lot of people do in that situation, and I just speak for myself, but I tried to hold on, I tried to correct, I tried to argue and fight, and sometimes do the opposite, just be quiet and calm, and whatever I could do to make sense of the dramatic shift in my existence, the dramatic shift in my day-to-day life, which was very poignant, very profound. What's been fascinating about that, actually one of the best experiences of my life, I think some of the best experiences of our life are those that we didn't choose. They were put upon us. And that's why I think sometimes we live in this very safe bubble we've created, and we want to have maximum control over our existence, and sometimes it just takes us out of all the possibilities that are available to us by allowing ourselves to be, by allowing ourselves to let go. So this experience put me in a position of submission where nothing I tried worked to correct my life, to bring my life back into alignment with my perception of the way it was supposed to be. And that brought me to, at once, a very low place, a very humble place, but also a very liberating place. Because I was forced to look deep within my own darkness, deep within my own attachments, to look within, who am I on my own 2 feet? At the same time, I'm having all these parallel experiences with my good friends and these combat veterans that I work with. And I'm experiencing their stories, and I'm humbled by them because many of them had to experience death at a very young age. They saw their friends die. They all thought they were going to die. And some of the first experiences I had with these men taught me that I was still a boy in a lot of ways. At age 40, I was still very much a boy. And I think a lot of us are. And I was among men who had sort of crossed a threshold of fear. They had experienced that deepest fear. So I think the past couple of years for me has been this untethering of my identity, this untethering of my attachments, being put in a place of submission first, and then turning that into a very deliberate surrender. And over and over and over again, I had this theme of surrender. And I realized that by fully surrendering to everything that I couldn't change, that I couldn't control, in fact, surrendering to this story I've been telling myself, this model in my mind that I've been latching onto and holding onto and trying to create, by surrendering almost all of that, but the most important parts, like my children, my art, my dog, and family, and my wife. Whatever path she takes, she's still someone very important in my life. And even though I fail at times, I want to love her through this. So by putting myself in this place of surrender, or by first being in a place of submission and then getting into a place of surrender, I was able to really focus in on what I can do, what I can focus on. And this theme that started to emerge over and over again was to be. Permission to be. And I was just experiencing that when I was painting today, and just realizing I was really in this place of letting go. Some people call it the flow. Whatever word we want to attach to it. I was quiet in my mind, and I was putting paint out in a way that just felt very organic and just rhythmic in a way. And I was taking a shower and getting ready to go out to a party, and I was just thinking about how we all tell ourselves this story. We're all taught. It's one of the blessings and the curses of humanity. We attach language to sensations in our body. We attach language to experiences. We turn that into ideas. We turn it into constructs and beliefs. And all of us have created a reality that's somewhat shared, somewhat unique and individual, but it's a bit of an illusion. And I don't mean to invalidate our shared realities or what we have created. I mean simply to reflect on the fact that we create by attaching language to experiences, and that the real core of it, I think what I was really meditating on, you can tell that I'm still just kind of piecing together what I was experiencing. It was this idea that it creates separation. Like when I was thinking about people, and I was thinking about all the issues we are faced with, and that language and ideas and our attachment to them separates us, keeps us separated, creates division among us. And that when you're able to let go of all of that, when you're able to be in a place of submission, when life puts you in a place of submission, if you can turn that into surrender, and you can kind of strip down the story you've been telling yourself, what you're left with is almost this beauty, this interconnectedness, what I think of as divine. I don't really care what words you attach to your your spiritual experiences or your God experiences, or just for me, once you remove all that, you're left with almost this thing that love is an energy, and we choose to separate ourselves from that energy, and that it's accessible to all of us all the time. We choose to separate ourselves from it out of pain, out of anger, out of, this is not fair. My life is supposed to be a certain way. You're supposed to be this person to me. We just pull each other and we strangle each other. We push each other. We tell each other, we're not as good. You're not as right if you think this or you think that. You're not as correct. I'm going to heaven. You're going to hell. So I was just thinking of this, sort of the beauty of experiencing not just people, but all things without so much attachment to thoughts and to language. Just to kind of experience it for what it is in the moment, to be. Just to be. What would it be like to be in the present moment fully, without anticipating what's next, without your mind being attached to another place, without trying to figure out some problem, solve something, have some conversation in your head that's unfinished. Just to be. So just be. I hope you can just be. And I really appreciate being able to share with you like this. And I hope to share more. Hope you have a wonderful evening, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.